truth in journalism, where brave men and women gave voice to the voiceless. But then the corporations bought the journalist, poisoning the news that we are fed. With those tainted sources, all we ever ate was a steady diet of status quo. This hijacked narrative hid the truth of mass suffering, injustice, and corruption throughout our land. Status quo, status quo, status quo, status quo. To expose this shift to oligarchy came a band of honest journalists. They left the studio and hit the streets to give the microphone back to the people. From sea to sea, the people were empowered to share their truth. Their voices no longer stifled, reclaimed their power. Join the media revolution now.
Hey there, Jordan Sheridan live. It is Monday, July 20th, 2020, right here in the United Corporations of America. Status quo in the house. Hope everybody had an okay weekend and is feeling okay in these ever-trying times as I send a text message out to alert the masses. We are live. Hopefully it works. Oh, I just got the text message. Wonderful. A lot going on right now in the United Corporations of America. So happy to be here as always with you. I'm not going to lie to you. I feel very sad for our country, even though it's a corporation masquerading as a country. Because, you are castigated. You are castigated, you are condemned, you are criticized if you don't just step in lockstep with Trump. Awful. Trump, get rid of him. Everything will be fine. We just got to get rid of Trump. If you don't sing that one tune, if you don't say vote blue no matter who, if you don't jump on the Biden bandwagon, you are deemed as missing the big picture. And the more I see, obviously from Trump, if you're paying attention to what's going on in Portland, and we'll have an update on that, the more I see from Biden, it just makes me very sad because, to tell you the truth, we're screwed either way. We're screwed either way, and that's the truth. You could argue you're more screwed with Trump, but every time I see these tweets from Biden, not written really by Biden, written by whoever writes for Biden. Oh, this is a matter of the soul of the nation is on the line here. It's just empty sloganeering, empty message, nothing there. Just a return to the good old days of Obamaism. It's just, as somebody who wants the country to move forward, as somebody who really understands the corruption up close, because I've seen it on the road, in the field, it's just frustrating that between the celebrities, the think tanks, the media allies, this messaging that everything's just dandy, we got to get Biden in there. And meanwhile, the people who have been just destroyed by neoliberalism, the same neoliberalism that Biden is pushing, are going to continue to be screwed. So it's kind of like Joe Biden is the luckiest politician in the world. Because if it was not for Donald Trump, Joe Biden would not be sniffing the White House right now. So we'll get into all of it, of course. Remember, I need you to press that like button. We got 230 people watching right now. 125 of you have pressed that like button. Thumbs up right under the live stream. The more people that press that like button, the more people that will see the live stream. This is Status Quo. We are built by you, the members. We're sitting at 1,735, so I hope I can get a couple more of you to sign up. We will have our members call this week. I'll let you know the day as soon as me and Colin talk, because he has to figure out how to set it up. But we will be having our members call this week, so sign up. Statusquo.com/join. $5 a month to do it. Love you. Mean it. Also, if you are not yet on our text list, you really don't know what you're missing. Get with the program. Text COUP to 370-370. That's COUP. That's 370-370, so you can get a text message when we're live. This is a super chat, so keep it coming all day if you can. Thank you, Gina Gal, for $7 getting us started in the super chat. Love to Status Quo. Love you back. Thank you, David Soil, $5. But, hashtag VBNMW because Trump bad, etc., etc. Hey, we could always move the D's left after Trump. Yeah, like Lucy promises CB. That is true. We keep hearing that. Oh, we'll push Biden when he gets in, but we got to get rid of Trump now. Well, judging by the things Biden told donors last night, I don't think he's moving. I don't think Biden's moving much, to tell you the truth. So, I want to start first with coronavirus update. We are now really, sadly, 140,000 deaths. Top Republicans this morning met with Trump. The two top congressional Republicans met with Trump at the White House on Monday morning in an attempt to smooth over differences with the administration about what should be in the next round of relief. The meeting, which included Trump, McConnell in a tan suit, Kevin McCarthy, and Steve Mnuchin, came after the administration moved over the weekend to block billions of dollars that Republicans had included in their draft proposal. Money had been allocated for testing and tracing efforts and to fund federal health agencies, and the move infuriated congressional Republicans. McConnell had planned to unveil his opening offer before entering what is expected to be a grueling set of negotiations with Democrats. The focus of the plan, Mnuchin said, would be on kids and jobs and vaccines. Quote, "We want to make sure that people who can go to work safely can do so," he told reporters at the White House. "We'll have tax credits that incentivize business to bring people back to work." In 5 days, that would be July 25th, 6 days, that would be July 26th, the expanded $600 a week unemployment expires. There's that cliff. It's Trump, Turkey Mitch, Turkey Neck Mitch, Nancy, and Slow Joe in the back with you guys hanging off the cliff. Thank you, Colin Tooley, for the spirited graphic. So you got 6 days till the cliff comes, and they're just starting to make initial offers. Isn't that a little backwards? Thank you, old gringo, $2. The U.S. Senate has to approve the Supreme Court nominees. They're just making the initial offer. Again, I said it last week. If this were a matter of bailing out the banks, bailing out the oil companies, bailing out the pharmaceutical companies, bailing out the defense industry, it could be done in a day. Because when it's a matter of the real backbone of America, that would be the special interests. Oh, Congress could work lickety-split, as we've seen. But for working people who are hanging off a cliff in 6 days, the first offer is coming this week. And that offer, apparently from Republicans and Steve Mnuchin, is to incentivize businesses to bring people back to work safely with payroll tax cuts, which literally are not even real tax cuts. Look at this. Where is that tweet I had? Here we go. Dave Dayen of the American Prospect tweeted, If I could find it. Here we go. The administration is eyeing structuring a payroll tax cut in the legislation as a deferral rather than an outright cut, which would keep down the technical costs of the overall bill, according to the person briefed on the package who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss private deliberations. Such a deferral could require Americans to pay back the tax cut at a later date. So let's get this straight, okay? Not only are you facing an eviction, millions of people facing eviction. By the way, 300 people watching, 209 have pressed that like button. Need another 100 people. Please smash that like button. So not only during a pandemic where over 50 million people have filed for unemployment, are you expected to pay back months of rent? Like now? And pay first of the month coming up in August? Literally, you're going to have mass evictions if something isn't done immediately in the form of a continuation of the moratorium on rent. And frankly, just cancel the fucking rent. Who in their right mind thinks millions of working people unemployed are going to have the funds to back pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars? What world are these people living in? But now they want to offer a payroll tax cut to incentivize businesses and workers to come back amid a pandemic that is still out of control all over the country. Again, I called it a capitalist death cult months ago, and I'm calling it a capitalist death cult again. It is not safe for people to return to work. A payroll tax cut that you have to pay back later is not an incentive. It's just a delayed economic death sentence. People could not back pay rent and then back pay their tax cut. It's unbelievable. Dan Vicari, how can we pay landlords mortgage due? It's unbelievable. Jeff Stein of the Washington Post. If you're just tuning in, key updates on a possible stimulus, which again is not coming by Saturday. So that extended unemployment insurance is going to expire. Trump seems successful in pushing Senate Republicans to back a payroll tax cut, which again they're proposing as essentially a deferral, not a actual cut. You'd have to pay it back later. White House, Senate, GOP at odds over $4 CDC. I think that's $4 billion in additional testing. GOP to propose no more dollars for state cities. Essentially, this is an even worse shit sandwich than the first bill. Only this one, it seems, is not giving trillions of dollars to corporations unless they sneak that in at the last moment, which is obviously always possible. So I see nothing about another $1,200 check, which to me, honestly, I wouldn't say no to it, but that we can't continue to accept crumbs during a pandemic. We need more than $1,200 one-time check. Even the continuation of the $600 a week has not benefited everybody eligible because state offices are overrun. So not everybody who's eligible for the extra $600 a week has been able to get it. So you're talking about, again, in the initial Republican proposal, I'll read a little bit more. A new coronavirus relief bill being crafted by Senate Republicans at the White House would tie school funding to classrooms reopening and is likely to include a version of the payroll tax cut sought by Trump, a person briefed on the package. So Republicans, again, tie school funding to classrooms reopening. So continuation with risking people's health with economic incentives. As details of the legislation emerged, Trump met in the Oval Office with McConnell, McCarthy. The president said discussions were going well as the administration and Republicans aimed to form a unified front before launching contentious talks with Democrats. Mnuchin and Chief of Staff Mark Meadows plan to meet with Pelosi and Schumer on Tuesday afternoon in what could serve as the opening of formal negotiations. Both sides on Monday appeared far apart, but Mnuchin said he was hoping for some resolution by next week. Next week. So again, not to be a broken record here, but you see the difference in urgency when it's banks that are about to fail versus actual living, breathing American people? When it's banks that are about to fail, we got to come back from recess now. When it's banks that are about to fail, we got to bring in Ben Bernanke, who was the Federal Reserve chairman at the time during the 2008 financial crash. We got to bring in every top gun. We got to bring in corporate leaders to the White House. But when the working people of America are facing the economic abyss, we'll get to it next week after the deadline expires. And by the way, I watch CNN and MSNBC, so you don't have to. I don't see any deadline clocks. You know how for the debt ceiling standoff, they have the little deadline clock to really heighten the tension? I don't see that. Maybe they'll have it in a few days. I don't see it now. I just see the real time. Here's the states. Here's the increases in cases, blah, 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 blah. That's important. But I don't really see much discussion about you fucked. Excuse my French. Swear jar. I don't see much discussion about all the people facing eviction, mass homelessness that's about to pop up, landlords trying to force their tenants to housing court, people without health care right now. Where's the pressure on McConnell and Pelosi to have done this weeks ago? Where's the pressure on these politicians? Oh, well, if your inaction is going to cause these people to be facing eviction, should we start asking about your health care? Your government-run health care? Your benefits? Should you do without while we do without? And continue to press that like button. 350 people watching. 269. Press that thumbs up. Keep those super chats coming too. Thank you for the super chat. Did I miss you? Chris Wynn, $2. I'm in IT. Most of the few new jobs are in the military industrial complex. Shocking. The president emphasized his support for a payroll tax cut, a policy that Democrats and a number of Republicans oppose. Trump believes it would stimulate the economy, but opponents believe it would do little for the millions of Americans who are unemployed. Quote, it's been proven to be successful and it's a big savings for the people. It's a tremendous savings. It's a tremendous saving and an incentive for companies to hire their workers back and to keep their workers. The payroll tax to me is very important, Trump said. The president has previously suggested he would not sign a relief bill under a payroll tax, a new relief bill, unless a payroll tax cut is included. You see, here's the issue. This Republican bullshit that we keep hearing. A payroll tax cut is not going to be a panacea that fully entices companies to hire back workers. You could give tax cuts, but if you don't have high consumer demand, if consumers don't have a lot of money in their pockets, then it really doesn't matter how much of a tax cut you give. So, you want to dangle not having a payroll tax that workers have to get withheld from their paycheck, but you're going to bring those workers back. Well, people are still going to be hesitant to come shop in your stores. A lot of people, even if they get hired back, owe on rent, owe on things that they had to go into debt while they were unemployed. So Payroll tax cut is not going to fix the consumer demand problem. You know what would fix a consumer demand problem? Putting money directly into the pockets of American people without the strings attached that you have to go back to work. People should not go back to work until you get the virus under control. You can't get the virus under control if you are forcing and rushing people back to work. People should not be going back to work in Arizona, Texas, Florida, Louisiana, and all the states that are seeing massive increases right now. It's only going to perpetuate this cycle of the virus. Give people money, a direct, universal basic income, indefinitely. We have the money. We just gave trillions with the snap of our fingers to corporate America. Encourage them to stay home for several weeks. Give hazard pay to essential workers, food delivery, groceries, those kind of things, and have the virus shrink. Incentivizing with tax cuts is not going to have a mass increase in consumer spending. You know what will? Dramatically shrinking positive COVID cases, giving people the security that they could go out and shop, go out and be around people. What they're talking about doing, enticing with tax cuts to rush people back to work, to have companies hire people, is only going to make the virus accelerate by having more people come back to work. Madness. Absolute madness. We cannot have any more crumbs. And frankly, you're starting to see more. I saw a hashtag, strike for Black Lives, things like that. I'm saying at a certain point, people need to start not paying their rent. All organize. People need to say, I ain't paying my taxes. If the government's going to leave us here to basically be evicted, no dice. Zero enna. Sorry, Jordan, I'll take the cash right now. I mean, if you're talking about if you're employed, would you take a payroll tax cut? Yes, but that ain't going to help the 51 million people that filed for unemployment. And again, when you say, I'll take the cash right now, if you're getting that, let's say you're unemployed right now and you have to go back to work to get that payroll tax cut. Okay, you're going to go back to work in an office? Are they going to social distance? You could be wearing a mask, 6 feet apart. When you're indoors, the virus spreads. Secondly, it might help you individually. It doesn't help the entire country because you're forcing people back during a pandemic without a vaccine yet. It doesn't fix the overall consumer demand problem. So, in a pinch, would you say, well, I'll take the money and I'll risk it and go back to work if they'll have me back? Maybe for you would, but for the entire country, I wouldn't endorse that. It's just going to perpetuate the virus further. And you want to know something? Wouldn't shock me if the Democrats agree to most of this. They'll say, well, what can we do? We got the best deal we could do. Well, we got the best deal we could get with the Republicans, even though we agreed to the first bill when we, the Democrats, had leverage. But they'll throw up their hands. Well, we did what we could do. Just like if Biden wins and they have both chambers, if they win back the Senate, they'll say, oh, we did the best we could do. 60, we needed 60 votes, filibuster, blah, 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 blah. They're not going to fight hard for the $600 unemployment to continue. they'll accept another $1,200 check. Of course, if the choice is a $1,200 check or no $1,200 check, anybody would take it. But the truth is, that's just kicking the can down the road for the next expiration in 3 months. And that $1,200 check is not even going to cover the bills that have been building up between your rent and the other expenses you have not paid or put on credit while you've been unemployed. $1,200 is not enough to cover months and months and months of expenses if you're unemployed. That's why immediate UBI is the most sensible thing, and they're not going to do it because they don't want you to even get a taste of a universal basic income. They don't want to open that door even a little bit. Even a little bit. No way, no how. Meanwhile, I don't know if you saw this, but Trump seems to be changing his tune a bit. We are united in our effort to defeat the invisible China virus. Of course, awful and racist. I actually interviewed an Asian woman who's over here studying last week. She described really horrific bigotry she's been experiencing, in large part because of the racism Donald Trump has been spewing. And many people say that it is patriotic to wear a face mask when you can't socially distance. There is nobody more patriotic than me, your favorite president. My guess, Trump didn't write that. His advisors probably forced them to approve it, though. Now he's talking about returning to the coronavirus briefings daily, which he should. The pandemic is at an all-time high. Every day is a new record. ICU beds are running out. So in a normal situation, I'd say we got to get rid of this guy. And I do want to get rid of Trump. And I'd say, whatever, I'll take a stale sandwich over him. But when the only thing you could really look forward to, if Biden wins, is not having to deal with Trump anymore, then the sadness for me comes in. Because I look at what Joe Biden just told donors at a fundraiser. And I quote, "I come from the corporate state of America," talking about Delaware. "Many of you incorporated here," said Biden. "It used to be that corporate America had a sense of responsibility beyond just CEO salaries and shareholders. Quote, corporate America has to change its ways. It's not going to require legislation. I'm not proposing any. We've got to think about how we deal people back in." Or,
I represented Wall Street as a senator from New York, and I went to Wall Street in December of 2007, before the big crash that we had, and I basically said, cut it out. Quit foreclosing on homes. 2007, Wall Street, in December of 2007, before the big crash that we had, and I basically said, cut it out. Quit foreclosing on homes.
can't make this stuff up. Can't make this up. Joe Biden, over 50 million people are unemployed. Tens of millions have lost their health insurance. Tens of millions are probably facing eviction in the next few weeks. It says corporate America has to change its way, but it ain't going to require me doing anything or Congress doing anything. I'm not proposing, say, legislation on this. No. Don't you worry. We just got to think about how we're going to deal people back in. Biden said his plans go beyond stimulus, saying the country used to invest in research and infrastructure. Quote, stimulus is trying to keep us from going into depression. He ran through a few of his proposals, stressing the caregiver crisis, and infrastructure building. Oh. Quote, I'm not one of those guys who thinks government knows best. But let me tell you something. Think of what we could do in terms of investing in offshore wind. There's a lot of steel we could make, man. And a lot of people could be put to work. A lot of CEOs could make a lot more money, and a lot of people could be paid a decent salary. The essence is that you got to build the country back. Build back better. Give people an opportunity for a decent wage. And you guys might not like it, a union wage. Okay, well, this all sounds wonderful, you know. But I kind of look at the company one keeps. This is at a fundraiser hosted by the Chief Operating Officer of Blackstone. If you're familiar with Blackstone, largest investment company on planet Earth, has invested billions in oil and gas. The world's largest private equity company is a partial owner of both Shineri Energy Partners and Eagle Claw Midstream Ventures, two major players in natural gas and shale oil. Blackstone has its fingers in pipelines through its investments in both Tallgrass Energy and Rover Pipeline, a company that made headlines a couple years for spilling millions of gallons of drilling fluid into Ohio wetlands. The PE giant also dabbles in waste management through its recently formed venture Waterfield Midstream, cashing in on the need to dispose of the toxic wastewater produced by fracking. Blackstone's interest in the fossil fuel industry is mirrored by many other private equity investors, including Apollo, the Carlyle Group, EIG Global Energy Partners, KKR, TPG Capital, and Warburg Pincus. This is from Jacobin, by the way. And BlackRock lost $90 billion in investing in fossil fuel companies, report finds. So that's who he's telling Blackstone. That's who he's telling, basically, the Hillary Clinton 2.0. That's Joe Biden's version of cut it out. Guys, you got to change your ways. I mean, I'm not going to force you here. I'm not proposing anything that will threaten you to recklessly endanger the environment, to expand the insane wage gap. You know, I'm not going to force you to do the right thing here. I'm not going to force you not to exploit workers. I'm not going to propose anything that would seriously threaten your profits. We're not going to cut the subsidies we give you as a federal government. Wall Street gets about $60 to $70 billion in subsidies every year. All of this talk, honestly, it's very emblematic of President Obama's campaign in 2007 and 2008, only spoken by a much, much less articulate spokesperson. And this is what it comes down to. You got the whole big Twitter sphere ignoring all of this, ignoring the fact that we are just honestly returning to a worse version of neoliberalism. To me, Biden is an even worse version than Obama. But all of that is ignored because of the evil, awful we see in Trump. And the problem is, we'll have the progressives fighting Biden, that's for sure. But we're not going to have all of these resistance folks with us. They will be just fine with going back to business as usual when Biden's in there. Record Wall Street profits, record stock market, that'll be just fine. Pipeline explosions, fine. Police murdering black people, Department of Justice not doing anything. Well, you know, I'm sure President Biden is really looking into it. Droning half the world, continuing aiding Saudi Arabia in its barbaric genocide of Yemen. Well, Biden's in there, so we could all just go back to tweeting about Will and Grace or whatever bullshit.
Will and Grace? What is this, the 90s?
Thank you, Jacqueline DeBlue, 50 pounds. This is from Hazy. See, cats are lovely, Jordan. Oh, I love your cat. Also, when is Anat's new member video up for consumption? I hope I didn't misread. Did you have a new member video?
A couple days ago, you uploaded it.
I posted it.
Yeah, I said that.
Yeah.
And when you have a free, couple minutes, I'll shoot some more.
Oh, yes. I posted Anat's members video. Was that the one you shot of me?
Yeah. Who else is shooting?
Yeah. No, that's up for the members. Go to statusquo.com and click on member content. Ooh, I don't know if I posted it for patrons. That was the thing. Ugh, God, I'm so behind. I'll post it again. Thank you, Jacqueline. This is why this whole situation is terrible. Because Will and Grace dating yourself a bit, probably. You know, everybody's ignoring this. You got straight up corruption. Biden's literally telling donors, guys, honor system here. You got to do better. You know, maybe one yacht a year rather than 3. You know, I'm counting on you, Wall Street. Stop charging higher interest rates. Stop charging higher interest rates and predatory lending on black and brown communities. I'm counting on you, honor system. I'm not a big government guy, he says. Bernie's talking about cutting 10% of the military. Not enough, but a start. I haven't heard peep from our fearless leader, Joe Biden. And although the media, obviously has been pushing that Trump's down big, and he is. If the election were held today, it would be a landslide for Biden. The numbers are the numbers. NBC poll, Biden at an abysmal 26% among young voters. The Meet the Press politics team flagged that Biden has surprisingly, bad numbers with young voters in an NBC News Wall Street Journal poll. So does Trump, to be fair. Biden's favorability among voters aged 18 to 34 is 26% positive, 44 negative. That means the former vice president 18 points underwater. Trump is doing worse. Head-to-head, younger voters opt for Biden, 62% to 23%. The numbers emphasize a frequent refrain of political punditry. Young voters may not like Biden, but they dislike Trump so much that they'll turn out to vote against him. I don't think that's what that shows. Compared, they might like Biden 62 to 23, but that's not the same thing as younger voters actually turning out for Biden. And we haven't even gotten to Biden's numbers among Latinos. Thank you for the super chat. Emblem Ed Fate, $2. We need a Malcolm X Bernie is a weak toe fight Biden. Okay, don't really know what that sentence means, but I appreciate the super chat. I have said, and I'll continue saying, I don't count Trump out. The polls are bad now. I'm not a polling truther. The polls are legitimate. But it could turn around quick. And that's why Biden's campaign is being very smart to keep him mostly in the basement. He's been popping out more often lately for tightly scripted speeches with teleprompter. But those debates are coming. And I would not be shocked if he screws up his vice presidential pick, which should be announced pretty soon. Trump wearing a mask today, low bar, but right direction. Trump doing the coronavirus press conferences. If he pivots a little bit to taking some responsibility, it's not over. But I will say, it is extremely sad to me and frustrating to see pretty much most people ignoring that Biden is literally mash up Bill Clinton, Obama, sprinkle in a little Bob Dole. That's Joe Biden. Maybe even the ghost of Strom Thurmond for dressing. Ooh, Colin, that's a good graphic idea. If you're watching. Little salad bowl. Obama, Bill Clinton, Bob Dole.
Bob Dole, what a throwback.
Strom Thurmond. Do you know that in 1996, I was in 5th grade and I was into politics. So I went around my class saying, endorsing Bob Dole for president. Not that I knew anything. I didn't know anything. But just to be contrarian.
Was this your special ed?
No, it wasn't special ed. I was out of special ed. But I told people to vote for Bob Dole just to be different.
Sounds like they should have held you in special ed for longer.
You think? So you were for Bill Clinton back then?
Yeah, because my parents voted for him. I was in 3rd grade and I didn't know anything.
And you didn't know any better. Look at that. Emblem Ed Fate, $2. Bernie is too weak to fight Biden. We need a leader. I'm thinking about running, personally. My girlfriend doesn't want me to run, but I'm thinking.
Yeah, no, you're not running.
I'm thinking.
No, you're not.
New York City mayor's opening soon. Jordan was pulling a Michael Tracy in grade school. Right. Without the racism, Islamophobia, and all the terrible things about Michael Tracy. He has really jumped the shark, Michael Tracy. I can't even read those tweets anymore. So what do you think? Should we just ignore what Biden is saying because Trump is awful? And he is. I'm about to get to Portland. Should we just ignore all this? Am I part of the problem? Because I was told that on Twitter today. He's running, folks. Oh, here they come. I mean, think about it. Joe Biden is talking about wind and solar. Sunrise Movement is, whoever the Sunrise Movement, I'm sorry, I'm not good at pronouncing her name. The head of it is saying, he's really moving on climate change. Yet he's doing a fundraiser with the COO of Blackstone, who is maybe more responsible than any company on planet Earth for the destruction of the planet. Please. Actions speak louder than words. More importantly, donors speak louder than words in the United Corporations of America. Joe Biden is who he surrounds himself with, who he hoards money from, and I don't care how bad Donald Trump is if it means we're getting this as a replacement. Sure, get rid of Trump, but let's not live in an alternative planet where the guy coming in is, in the rescue wagon for the working class of America. President Anat Sheridan. Ooh. Brian Fedrick donated on all presidential candidates deserve media scrutiny. Thank you. And it's amazing, honestly. I'm not defending Trump, but they're bashing him for not wearing a mask. He puts on a mask or he tweets out to wear a mask, and then they're psychoanalyzing, why is he doing this? Did he write it? For once, it's a good change. Let it be. He put out a tweet urging people to wear masks if they can't socially distance. That's a good thing. By the way, 500 people watching, 400 likes. Can I get another 100 likes? As a reminder, Status Coup goes on through you. Sign up as a member, statuscoup.com/join. Think we'll do our members call Thursday. I just got to figure out how to send out the invite through Zoom. But that's what I'm thinking. By the way, I've sent all of your kind emails. Many of you have sent very nice emails. Jen appreciates the kind wishes and messages, so thanks for all the people that have sent emails with nice words for her. So, which brings me to Portland. Obviously, you might be living under a rock. If you have been living under a rock, the federal government, Trump, has sent out federal troops in military garb, and they did this to a Navy veteran. So that was a remix. Somebody put in like Captain America music, but with Captain Portland. Seth Peterson, $20 in the super chat. The evictions will go forward, so the mass incarcerations will continue to keep minorities and the poor from voting. If we started to see a mass movement immediately, I'd have faith that we could actually move Biden if he wins. Seth, love you, appreciate the support. Don't agree that you'll move Biden if he wins, because Biden is a Republican. That is who he is. He could give you the progressive lip service now to get elected, but if he gets in, he's a 1980s, 90s country club Republican. That's who he is. He does not think you should have free health care. He thinks Wall Street should be the measuring stick for the economy. He is not a real union guy. I don't think you could move somebody who's 77 years old and has been in Washington for 50 years. And frankly, I don't think Joe Biden's really going to be running the country, judging by what we've seen. I think the people he surrounds himself sure will. Joe Biden has openly talked about himself as a bridge to the future of America. Pete Buttigieg. Thank you. Can't wait. Ready for Pete. So, disagree with you on that one. I don't think we could move Biden. Understand people who vote for Biden. I'm not criticizing you. I get it if you want Trump out. But I would limit curb your enthusiasm on moving Biden if he wins. The only thing that will move Biden is what you're talking about, Seth, and that's a mass movement. Because look at the latest example. It's the money Lebowski. The owner of the Washington football team, won't say the name anymore, said, hell no. All caps, he said, I'm never changing the team name. Fast forward a couple years, FedEx, I'm pulling my money. I ain't going to sponsor your football team anymore. Pepsi, other companies, change the name or I'm out. That came from people power. That came from the Black Lives Matter movement, the Native American movement that has been pushing it for a long time. You start seeing real mass movement, not just protests, which are great, but coordinated economic protest, economic boycotts, coordinated divestment. Oh, Joe Biden will move because his donors will tell him so. It won't be his conscious choice. It will be the people that run America. His bosses. His bosses at Goldman Sachs. His bosses at Pfizer. His bosses at Facebook. At Raytheon. Northrop Grumman. Merck. JP Morgan. The financial law firms. All of the usual suspects. You hit them where it hurts, oh, you'll move Biden. You'll move all of them. Thank you for the 700 Seek. Jonas Levinson, I think that's my friends from Sweden.
Yeah,
Some funds to keep you afloat. Keep up the good work. I don't know what the United States equivalent, what the dollar equivalent is.
77,
$77? Why, thank you, Jonas. Appreciate it. Thank you, Ishtalk TV, $4.99. Status quo, love the show. Thank you, I love you. By the way, not going to go into full details because my lady doesn't love personal details. But I just began the process for acquiring a vehicle. Is that okay to say?
Leasing a vehicle.
Leasing a vehicle. And in that leasing a vehicle, I will be able to cover more in the field stories within reason, because there is a pandemic and I have a girlfriend and future baby to think about. But there is no baby yet.
Oh my God.
No baby yet. In the future. Saw my niece and nephew for the first time in like 5 months yesterday. It was very nice. It's very weird, though, and kind of frustrating seeing your niece. I can't hold her. Understandably, my brother doesn't want me, touching her and all that. But at least I saw them, so that was nice. So a vehicle is in the works. I just started the process. Robert Henderson, $2. Appreciate it. Brian Frederick, $1.99. Biden is worse than Trump on some foreign policies. I could agree on that. Trump is way, way worse on the environment. I hope you could agree with that. Tiffany J. Kim, $49.99. Appreciate it. I wasn't going to buy anything today in support of the BLM strike. However, I respect your journalism, and I appreciate you giving the mic back to the people. Keep on keeping on in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Kentucky, and everywhere else. Thank you, Jordan and Jen. Thank you, Tiffany. I appreciate that. And that amount really, really helps. Although, we appreciate any amount you support us with. But those, bigger amounts really keep us going right now, because we definitely have lost members. So we really appreciate it. And I hope you see, frankly, we're doing stuff no one else is doing. From interviewing that wonderful Asian student last week to the recent reporting trip we just took. I'm already thinking about the next trip we could take, to all the things we have covered that no one else is covering. Why lease, Jordan? Because right now we're looking at a lot of things. So on the car, we're thinking for the short term, lease. Don't worry.
Someone said you're limited to how many miles you can drive on it.
You are.
You know that?
Mm-hmm. There's reasons I don't want to get into, but it makes more sense for us right now to lease. Eventually we'll buy. But off of my tangent, these Portland protests are horrific. I don't want you to get it twisted. But something that's been bothering me about this is you see, and these are people I like, by the way. I like Senator Merkley, first senator to endorse Bernie in 2016. I think the only senator. He's proposing legislation with Ron Wyden and Chris Murphy that would require individual and agency identification on uniforms of all officers and prevent unmarked vehicles from being used in arrests, limit federal agents' crowd control activities to federal property and its immediate vicinity, require disclosure on an agency website within 24 hours of deployment specifying the number of personnel and purposes of deployment, make arrests in violation of these rules unlawful. So you got this in response to Trump deploying federal agents to Portland. And 100%, I agree with it. Then you have Ron Wyden, another senator from Portland, from Oregon. This weekend, a peaceful protester was shot in the head with a potentially deadly crowd control munition after Donald Trump deployed federal law enforcement to Portland. Trump thinks he could treat law enforcement as his personal occupying army. Not on my watch. I'm demanding answers. And then he posted a letter he wrote to the president. But what bothers me, and again, this is with the selective action from Democrats. When it's Trump, they'll act. And they should act, by the way. This is out of control, what Trump is doing. It's fascism, straight up. It should not be allowed. Federal agents have no business in American cities as American citizens are protesting. The fact that Trump has signaled he is going to send more troops in, I don't know why he thinks this is a good thing. It's going to egg on his base, but it's totally going to push away independence. And most importantly, this is fascism. So I resisted calling Trump a fascist and comparing him to Hitler and these things for years because I thought a lot of it was hyperbolic. But this is fascism, 100%. So we cannot look the other way. But what bothers me about it is you see all these Democrats decrying it when it's Trump and federal troops I didn't see Merkley or Ron Wyden come out when just the Portland Police Department was cracking people's skulls for weeks. So when it's federal troops coming in, yes, fascism. Oh, we need to propose legislation, all this, that, and the other thing. But when it's just your police department tear gassing people, shooting projectiles at point blank range in Portland. You saw on our channel, we acquired footage from a freelancer in Portland. Hell, in New York, cities around the country, you want to make laws that federal troops need to identify themselves? How about you start with the police all over the country? I've seen police officers in New York, D.C., Louisville, not wearing their badges, no identification. Where's the legislation for that? You're on the public dime. So if it's Trump sending in troops in a fascist, authoritative way, we need to propose legislation. We're all over Twitter, and they should be. Again, don't get it twisted. This is not a defense of Trump. But there is no intellectual consistency. There's no ideological consistency. And by the way, it's a problem when federal troops are disbanded into Portland and other places. Where the hell were these people when the Department of Homeland Security, federal, the U.S. Marshals, federal, the FBI, federal, were literally working with a private fossil fuel company, Energy Transfer Partners, and a paramilitary group, Tiger Swan, to literally surveil the Standing Rock protests, infiltrate moles into the Standing Rock camp. I ain't making this shit up. Read The Intercept. They did great reporting on it. You're the federal government literally hiring moles and putting them in camps in service of an oil company to surveil and divide peaceful protests in America. Now, is that the equivalent of federal troops on the ground hitting this Navy veteran with batons? Spraying tear gas in his face? No. I don't want a false equivalence here. But the point is, the resistance and these Democrats have nothing to say when the federal government, literally, you're talking 3 or 4 federal agencies were working with a Tiger Swan, a pretty sketchy group. The equivalent of, what was Eric Prince's private military group called? Black something. Blackwater. The equivalent of Blackwater. Working with them at Standing Rock. Pin drops. Crickets. And I'd like some Democrats not just to speak up when Trump is dispatching federal troops. Yeah, speak up. Where were you speaking up against the Seattle Police Department dispatching tear gas on its people? The only person I heard from was City Councilwoman Shama Sawant, a socialist champion. Portland, literally, the police were out of control in Portland and all the other cities. Yeah, Democrats gave lip service, but they weren't proposing legislation to mandate that police keep their identification on at all times. Hell, cities and states have laws now for police departments to keep their body cameras on at all times. And in all these situations, the body camera wasn't on. Malfunction, they forgot. There's nothing done to the police officers in that case. So the consistency here is non-existent. And that's why I caution just getting rid of Trump is not enough. Because these same people are going to be crickets again when it's Biden. The police will continue to be out of control. And the official line will be, Trump has destroyed our norms and it's going to take President Biden and the Democrats a long time to rebuild. So be patient. We're going to have police reform. We're going to have economic reform. We're going to have criminal justice reform. We're going to have social justice reform. But right now, we just need to work to stabilize things because Trump did a number on it. So we can't mandate that police officers show their identification at all time, and if they don't, they immediately are fired. We can't propose legislation to make tear gas illegal in the United States. Sorry, can't do it right now. Too busy undoing what Trump did. And the media will fall in line. Thank you, Robert Copeland, $10. Here's a super chat for the car fund. Oh, thank you. Mblad Fate, $5. You think Biden will make a more racist bill than the crime bill if he wins, and it might get through because libs will fall asleep? No, I don't think he's going to make a crime bill 2.0 in this climate. I do not. Do I think he's going to do anything real the next time a black man is shot and killed or strangled to death or kneed to death? Do I think anything's substantial is going to happen? No. Absolutely not. I mean, he's not going to antagonize Black Lives Matter protesters like Trump. He's not going to, do as racist dog whistling, but on a policy level, do I see real things changing? I do not. I would be pleasantly surprised. So we'll see. We will see. So before I go, remember, Status Quo could only grow through you. You could sign up for as low as $5 a month. That's $5 a month, statusquo.com/join. As a member, you get behind-the-scenes content, behind-the-scenes videos, and our monthly members call, which we're going to be doing this week. I'm thinking Thursday. I'll confirm that tomorrow for you guys. Also, if you haven't yet, sign up for our text list. That's text COUP to 370-370. That's COUP to 370-370. And as always, email me at info@statusquo.com. info@statusquo.com. Any story ideas? What's going on in your neck of the woods? I am beginning to churn my mind for the next reporting trip. And I definitely am looking for stories to investigate. So if you got something good, send it. info@statusquo.com. Let me read a couple comments before I go. Go, but you just got here. What do you mean?
He's been gone for 77 minutes.
An hour and 15 minutes isn't enough for you? You want 3? Brian Frederick, $1.99. Odds of getting another stimulus check. I think you'll get another $1,200 check. That's my guess. But again, there's a lot of people that didn't even get that check. And to me, this is essentially neoliberalism in a nutshell. Continue to accept the totally unacceptable. Imagine, in a pandemic, 51 million people have filed for unemployment. Tens of millions without health insurance. Tens of millions facing eviction. Here's $1,200. 4 months after the original $1,200? Is that really economic relief? Seriously. It's like, not drinking water for 3 days, dying in the desert, and somebody comes to you and gives you, half a glass of water, and then leaves you for 4 months. Insane. Biden and Trump voting would both give you violent food poisoning. Totally illogical to vote for either. Zach W. Biden is humaner. Humaner? I don't think that's a word, but we could make it one. Leslie Wheeler, we need the help. We'll take it. Yes, I'm not saying don't take the 1,200. I'm saying we need to go further. And that's why I'm talking about a real economic boycott. Because if the masses keep continuing crumbs, they're going to keep giving you crumbs as they eat the delicious cake. KCBJ, voting for lesser evil for decades has got us here and won't make it better. All right, folks, I'll see you tomorrow, 4:30 Eastern Time, 1:30 Pacific. Thank you for watching. Go to @StatusCoo if you haven't followed us on Twitter, on Twitch, twitch.tv/StatusCoo. I might start doing some Twitch-only live streams to build from there.
Oh, you should welcome Preston who joined us.
Oh, yes, we did get a new member, Preston.
Preston joined over the weekend.
Woohoo! So we are 1,735 members. Welcome to the party, Preston. And I will see you tomorrow. Peace out.